Hello everyone, welcome to the course on Computer Fundamentals and Problem Solving using C, and the course code is B19CS1101. This is Saraja Pathapati, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, SRKR Engineering College. This course mainly deals with the fundamentals of computers and C language. And then coming to the today's session, we are going to discuss about the definition of computer and the various parts available in computer, and then different types of memory in detail. So the objectives of today's session is to learn about the detailed description of a computer and to learn various types of memory available. So before going to see the block diagram of computer, let us see the definition of a computer, right? So we usually say that it is an electronic device because through power we work it, and it will accept data and instructions as input from the user, and then it will process this information given by user and usually provides output, right? So this is the definition of computer. And here, coming to the block diagram, the computer is majorly divided into three parts. One is input unit, second one is central processing unit, and the third and last one is output unit. Here, if you observe this, the central processing unit is again divided into three types. One is arithmetical and logical unit, other is control unit, and the third one is memory. So coming to this arithmetical and logical unit, it helps us to perform mathematical operations. That is some arithmetic operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, percentile and all. Then coming to the control unit, it will controls each and every part of computer. That is from giving the input and providing the output and communication between different parts of computer, and everything is controlled by this control unit. And what is the use of memory? If we want to program something, then we need to give some instructions and data as input, right? So to store these instructions and data, we need some memory. So usually the memory of computer is divided into three types: cache memory, primary memory, and this primary memory is also known as a main memory, and then a secondary memory. So coming to the cache memory, we say it like it is a very high speed memory, right? Why we say it? Suppose let us take some example, right? When you want to open your Gmail account, what you will do is just go to the any kind of browser available in your computer. Then you will type some Google sign in. Then after going to the sign in, the link will open, right? From the original memory location, the link is getting open, right? And this link is stored in your history. That is, in your cache memory location, this link have already been stored. When you want to open that for the second time or third time or any other time, not the first one, right? Then what it will do is, it will go to the cache memory and it will open that particular URL from the cache memory. Instead of going to the original site address, it will go to the cache memory and it will open. For that reason, already open tabs or open URLs will access very fast when compared to the new ones in your system, right? Then coming to the primary memory or the main memory, whatever the current program you're running, right? That particular data and instructions will store in our primary memory. Suppose let us take an example like I'm working with some Word file, right? So the program or the data or instructions with respect to that particular Word file will get stored in your main memory, and it have very limited capacity, right? And if once the power got lost, then the data will get erased if you haven't stored them manually. And it is again divided into two types, that is RAM and ROM. Coming to RAM, it is also known as the random accessed memory. As we have just said earlier, it will store the instructions and the data what the current program is running, right? And we say it like it is a volatile memory. What is meant by volatile? The data will lose once the power is switched off, right? And again it is divided into two types, that is static random access memory and other one is dynamic random access memory. Before going to these two things, you need to know about the difference between a static and dynamic. right? For this, I will say the example for static is some URL address, that is w3schools.com. And for dynamic, it is your Facebook URL. So what is the difference between these two things? The thing I'm saying about w3schools.com, right, is it will provide information regarding some subject, right? The page will not get modified each and every time. Whenever you open the page, the content on the page you visualize each and every time is the same, except ads, right, is the same. But while going to your Facebook, the news and feeds will get updated each and every second. So static means it will remain as constant, and dynamic means with time it will get changed, right? Here also, the data hold using the static random access memory will not get changed. And while with dynamic access memory, it will refresh periodically, right? And then coming to the comparison, SRAMs will work very faster when compared to DRAMs. But DRAMs are less expensive, right? So this is a T diagram for primary memory, how it is divided. Then going to the read-only memory. As the name suggests itself, we can only read information, but we cannot write anything using this. And it is very fast when compared to RAM, right? And at the same time, it is a non-volatile memory. That is, even though the power got switched off, the information will automatically save. And this is again divided into three types. One is programmable read-only memory. That means using this, we can store the data and instructions. But once we program it, we cannot change that one. And second one is erasable programmable read-only memory. That is, once we programmed, we can modify the program, but we need to modify it using ultraviolet light, right? And other one is electrically erasable programmable read-only memory. Instead of using this ultraviolet light, right, we can use electric field to erase the program. And then coming to the secondary memory, we usually say it like it is a very slow memory. Why we are saying it like a slow memory? Because these are the external devices which we connect to our computer, and then we store information in our external devices. So we need to communicate with other device to get or retrieve some information or to store some information. So it is known as a slow kind of memory, right? The examples are like your pen drive, DVD, CD, and many more things, disk drive and hard disk, anything, right? And then coming to your input unit, generally we already have said that the computer will accept information from the user, right? So we need to provide some information, and how we provide information is by using some kind of devices just like keyboard, mouse, or well-known things. Other than this, we can use some joysticks, scanner, and many more input devices are available, right? So it will mainly form three functions. The input device mainly consists of three functions. One thing is it will read the information, right? The information may be read in the form of instructions or data. Then what is the difference between instructions and data? Suppose let us say that I'm working with my Word file, and if I want to save, what I will press just like Control S, right? If I want to copy, Control C. If I want to paste, Control V. These are the instructions I'm saying to the computer to perform some specific task, right? Or else by use of mouse, I can go to the menu bar and say like copy and all. So this is known as an instruction. Then what is meant by a data? If I'm using my calculator, right, I want to give the numbers as input, right? So that is known as a data. This is just like a simple example. If I'm trying to write a code for addition of two numbers, then what I will do is I will take two variables for storing two values, and then I will perform addition on it, right? And then the instructions whatever given by me, that is Control S or some kind of instructions, this will be internally converted into a computer understandable code. the computer will simply understand zeros and ones, nothing else. So whatever the instruction I have given, this will be converted into computer understandable code. And then the computer will process this information. This is done in input unit. Then what is the thing that will done in your output unit? Right, the most commonly known output unit is your monitor and printer, right? Even we have many other output units, just like sound devices, right, and many more. So we will observe the main functionality of the output unit. So whatever the result, after processing information, what the computer will give? Result, right? And the result is in the form of zeros and ones, which is not understandable by us. Then they are coded, right? And then they are converted into human acceptable form. That is whatever we can read. And then it will show as output in your output devices. So this is about the block diagram in detail. Thank you very much for this session and meet in our next session.